Good afternoon. I'm Marie Younger Blackburn with Driven Women TV. The purpose of Driven Women TV is to continue the mission and the message of Cape Cod's first conference for women, which is to bring women together under one roof and share useful and relevant information that would inspire them to go out and be the change in their own communities. And today I'm here with my guest from Salem, Massachusetts, Dr. Stem, and I'm just very happy to have you here. It's just evidence that the bridge runs both ways and that women are able to come over and to collaborate and share even from afar. I met Dr. Stem recently, and do you want to talk about how we met?
I call that divine intervention. Hi, I'm Dr. Stem Mahlatini. Actually, I'm from Zimbabwe. I now live in Peabody, Mass, and I have a TV show that we record in Salem, Mass. But the way that we met, I call that divine intervention. As I said, we were at a John Maxwell conference that had happened right in the South Shore. And what I saw was a table with Driven. The purple was just everywhere, beautiful with the bags. And I came over to the table and introduced myself. But mostly I wanted to ask about Driven, because the words that inspiring, growth, empowerment, those are words that I use on a day-to-day basis. And I introduced myself, gave you 2 of my books, and the rest is what they say, history.
Sure. And with Cape Cod's Conference for Women, I've had the honor to meet hundreds of women from all over Cape Cod and really all over the country. Women who are willing to share their expertise and their knowledge with the women on Cape Cod at this year's upcoming conference that will be Thursday, March 10th, 2016, at the beautiful Seacrest Beach Hotel right there in North Falmouth. And when I met Dr. Stem, she shared with me 2 of her books, and she just was very excited about that she would have a message to share with the women. So she gave me 2 of her books, yes. And I went home, and like we all do, I placed them on my bedside table because I was just too busy, yes, to be able to read. And there was something calling me. In my busyness, I leave the house at like 8 in the morning, wow, and often come home at 8 at night while I'm building this conference, because I have many, many meetings, and I'm meeting with different potential speakers and sponsors, yes, and I get depleted, you know, spirit, soul, and body. Sometimes I get depleted. So these books were calling me, and something was saying, there's something in there that you need, yes, you know. So the first one that I picked up was Be Encouraged, 50, a celebration of life lessons. And it's 50 life lessons that you wrote. And I know that maybe there were more, yes, but you were able to sum it up in 50. And what I noticed about each chapter was that there was an inspirational quote. And that really touched me. So can you tell me a little bit about this book and how it came to be?
To be honest with you, it's one of those things where I just turned 50, March 9th of this year. And one of the things that got me excited about Driven, conference for next year is it's a day after my birthday,
sure,
March 10th. But I remember 2 weeks before my birthday, which was, in March of this year. And I thought, I have a lot of followers because I'm also a motivational speaker, and I'm a coach, a life coach as well. So I have a lot of followers on social media. And I thought, what can I give them for free that, for my birthday, for that particular day? And all of a sudden I thought, you know what, why don't I just write the 50 things, life lessons that I have learned and share with them, being 50, what that is. I also call it my nerves because I was nervous and I thought, okay, I'm turning 50, what does this mean? But I sat there and I wrote this book in 2 days.
Wow. Just evidence that women get better as they get older, because 50 is a new 40, as, yes, they say, and there's so much more in us. I'm in my 50s as well, and my eldest son, Chef Ralph Younger, he is born on March 9th also, so isn't that amazing? And when we chose the date for the conference, we thought about his birthday. He's also the operational manager for Cape Cod's Conference for Women, and we thought about the date, and whereas the conference is a destination conference where women will come from all over Cape Cod and over the bridge. They'll come from other states to join us at the beautiful Seacrest Resort in North Falmouth. It's going to be a day of celebration and also an after party, so we can celebrate you as well.
Thank
but,
you.
Back to the book. There's so many great lessons in it. I could open up to any chapter, and I will, and just kind of just blindly open up to one.
Okay.
This is great. Chapter number 24. You have all you need within you. 24 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Explore, dream, and discover. You know, every woman has in them a talent. We have a passion. We're already caregivers. But one thing that I've realized is we don't take time to explore, to dream and discover because we are busy being parents, we are busy being teachers, working, taking care of the home, and neglecting to take care of ourselves. So one of what that meant for me was at 50, I realized how important it is to take a step back and to be able to just explore, to be a kid again, to dream and discover new things about myself as well as the opportunities that are out there in the world for all of us.
Yes. Yeah. And that's much like my story, because in my 50s, I was a mom since I've been 19 years old with Ralph. And I now have 3 children, 3 sons. Yeah. But being a mom so early, I derailed my dreams, my passions. And a year ago, I dreamt, literally, I said, I want to bring a conference for women to Cape Cod. Wow. And in 5 months, with the help of many talented entrepreneurial women here on Cape Cod, we were able to do it. And I realized there's so much more in me, so much more that I wanted to do in collaborating with other women. There's so many more people for me to meet and expose to the world, much like yourself. Meeting you has been a pleasure. You are the author of 21 books.
I don't have a life.
How does, and I know just from meeting you in a short while that there's more in you.
Yes.
So tell me, how does one write 21 books?
The way that I write books, I'm also a licensed therapist. So I have a private practice in Salem, Mass, where I talk to people and counsel people. And what happens is when I am helping one person in my office and they're talking about depression, anxiety, they're talking about having tears and shed tears about their lives and not having, found peace and joy within them. And I work with them and start to see a smile and start to see life and start to see them flourish. And I thought, if I'm only seeing 10, 15 people in my office, what happens to the millions of women, men, and children that are out there that never have the opportunity to sit and talk to a therapist and talk to a counselor about their life, about what possibilities there are, just to get some encouragement, empowerment, and inspiration. So then I sit down and I write about life. All my books are motivational, inspirational, that if you pick it up, something, as you said, will speak to you. And that's how I write them.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's a criteria for the speakers that I look for Cape Cod's Conference for Women. I want people that are going to move people out of their seat and cause them to go out in the community and be the change by something that you say. It's going to touch somebody to say, oh, I have that in me. Yes. I have something that I want to do. Or if there's some pain that exists, that pain would be brought to the surface, where they would want to go out and get some help with the areas of need. Yes. So I look for people who can bring it. I really do. I really look for people who can bring humor, could bring things out of the depth of their soul, so that one person that attended the conference commented on one of my speakers and said, she's the only one that made me want to go in my bag and get a pen to write notes. And that's what I want. I want someone who's going to cause folks to move, really get it. Yes. And that brings me to your next book. You gave me 2 books, and this one was called Beyond the Tears. And again, it sat on the bedside table till one night I said, I just fell into bed and I got my little reading glasses on and I began to read.
Yeah.
And from the first paragraph, it touched me. You are, like you said, from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And you have roots there and you have a family. And it talked about being in a family situation and your father being a polygamist. And it talked about the effects that his choices had on you and your siblings and your mother, and beyond the tears, and how your mother's prayers and how her tears made way for your destiny and for you to become the woman that you become. So although the book is wrought with some painful situations, out of all the pain came you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, thank you for summarizing it that way. What I did was I was struggling on how to move on as a daughter who loved both parents. I love my dad, love my mom, but I was caught in between where did he make the right choices, and was mom's hurt, you know, so deep that we couldn't get the family together, and it's not in my place. So what I did was I wrote that to release the pent-up emotions that were within me and to find myself and find that strength to move on and create a life that I'm supposed to have.
Sure.
So what that taught me was, which every woman I hope and pray will get from that life will happen. The parents will do the best that they can with what they have. There's no manual on how to raise your children. There's no manual on how to stay married or not to be married, or to love someone, you know, loving yourself. There's no manual, but every person will do the best that they can. Sure. Sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it won't work. But it's up to each and every one of us to determine what's within us, to have the courage and the confidence to say, you know what, life happened, and how can I get driven to start a new life?
Sure.
How do I get it? That's why it's a story of hope and encouragement.
Sure.
I rewrote it, and now it's coming back. It's saying thriving beyond the tears. That's going to be the new title,
wow,
you know, of that book. Because what I wanted to say to all the women out there is, yes, you're broken. Yeah, I mean, you were bruised, but you're not broken.
Sure.
You are bruised, but not broken.
And one of your healing processes was through education.
Yes.
Excuse me. At an early age, you really realized the importance of education, yes, and not just from a book learning. It wasn't so important that you found your education in a school, yeah, which you did, being so accomplished and being a PhD, but also just life lessons, yes, like your book and life lessons. You could take a trade, you said. So whatever way you need to get that.
Yes.
Excuse me,
yes,
I just have a little tickle.
Yeah.
So can you talk about the importance of education in your life and how it shaped who you are?
Yes, thank you. You know, coming from Zimbabwe, my parents, that's one thing for both my mom and my dad, you know, both of them always supported us being educated. Unlike some African countries that are unfortunate where, you know, educating girls is not the thing to do, they educate the boys, we were blessed and lucky enough that they wanted the girls to be educated. And I knew that in order for me to go through doors that I can go through where there's no black, white, yellow, green, with an education, they don't ask you what color you are. There are some doors that will open because you have the knowledge, you have the accomplishment, and those doors will open. There are some doors which will not open whether you're accomplished or not.
Sure.
But having that education of knowing that, you know what, it's not because of me, it's because of barriers that are already put in place for everybody, whether it's me or not, and there are racial barriers that will be there, cultural barriers that will be there, but I keep on moving on.
Sure.
And the life lesson being, you will get to meet those people that you were meant to meet.
Sure.
You will get to be in places where you are meant to be, and it's not going to be painful. So meeting you, to me, was, oh, thank you, God. I'm meeting a person that I'm supposed to meet in my life now. Sure. And I say God because I'm a believer, and some people will have, you know, other beliefs that I have, but I'm a Christian, I'm a believer.
Sure.
And I truly believe that my being here today, even in this country today, it's not of my doing, It's not of, I mean, my parents know better or they're better people, but it's because God blessed us and wanted us to be here and to impact other people's lives and to help them determine where their lives are going, who they're going to believe. And that's my thing. I'm not, like a Christian where I would impact, people to be Christians, but no, I just want to help women to find the courage within themselves. They call me the confidence coach. I teach that.
And that's what I'm hearing right now is confidence. And I think we need a dose of confidence in order to move beyond who we have been told we are and who we really are. Because as a young mom, I was a 19-year-old mom, and at a time when I came from a two-parent home, a good home. We had resources, we had education, but it was my choice. So I made a choice. And society would have it as it determined the course of my life to say, you're young, you're African American, and you're without resources, and that you would not have a future. And there's another course that I chose to take, and it's a belief and a confidence in myself and having a really strong support system that says, oh no, you can. And who would have thought that today I would be a champion for women, a champion for driven women, to bring women together under one roof, to share useful, relevant information, to inspire them to go out and be the change of their own in their own community through Cape Cod's Conference for Women, and now Driven Women TV. And we also have an entity called Driven Women Shares. And it's a group of driven women who go out into the community and do volunteer projects, and primarily with youth. So I know a lot of your work is with youth, and that it so inspires me. We were fortunate to have a table for youth at the conference, and also through the Atria. They sponsored a table, and we had 10 youth from schools across Cape Cod, as well as Mass Maritime Academy sent a table of their cadets. And it was so impressive to see the young women, and we hope to do it again this year. But I want to hear about your work with youth. I know you have a long history working with youth.
It makes my heart tickle, and probably my passion working with the teenagers, especially teenagers. But what I noticed, I've been doing that for 20 years now. I'm a therapist, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. So I speak for women and youth, mostly. The reason why I chose, because a lot of men say, well, why do you just talk to the women? But what happens is the women are the ones that are raising these teenagers that everyone keeps saying, the teenagers of today, they're bad, and they don't have any values, and they don't listen, they don't do well. But who's at the basis of raising them are the women. And if their parents, the women, are not supported enough to be able to be courageous and to know that whatever it is that they will instill in these children, it works. The children will listen and they can hear it. And the teenagers themselves, they just need support. There's so much that is that they're facing as far as choices are concerned, that is difficult sometimes because of the peer pressure to make that right choice, and you're the only one that's standing on the truth, on your truth. So then, the answer that I made was to write the two books. I was 47 and a half years old, because a lot of people say, why did you put 47 and a half? I was 47 and a half years old, and I put 47 and a half things that teenagers need to know about their parents, because there's a misconception that, my mom is hard, my dad doesn't love me, and this. So I went from the parents and asked the parents what they wanted out, for their children, and wrote 47 things that these teenagers can know. And then I also wrote 47 things that the parents need to know about today's teenager, because you have to talk to them a different way. They think a different way. The things that they face are differently. And as a parent, you might not think that, you're making an impact, but when they sit in my office, in my presence, when I'm speaking to them, there's a lot that they can hear. There's a lot that they can see, because they see and hear everything. So, it's one thing for mom to have an abusive boyfriend, a husband, and then you say to your teenager, you know what, you need to make sure that you don't bring that boy around me, or you don't hit that girl, or you don't, and they go dark. But, she's fighting with her boyfriend every day. Or you should see my mom. She buys this boyfriend all this stuff. He doesn't even work. So those things they can see, and how do we get to shape them when the parents themselves are not, standing in the truth, where they have the values of getting the right people in their lives? Because it's no longer for the children where the parents say, I stayed for my children, and you're not happy. And you're being abused. And then, the children get to see that.
Sure.
It breaks them, and that's why I wrote Beyond the Tears.
Sure.
It wasn't good for me
Right.
to stay around when they were not happy.
Sure.
Not at all.
So children, not only, they do what they see,
Yes.
not only what they hear.
they hear.
So it's important for us to give positive messages in the things that we do. And I think that's why we are having young women at the conference, so that they can see what we do. They can see and feel and experience the good information that we pass. They can see and experience the networking that we do. They can be inspired by women who are up here in business and the women who are just starting out in business, all of it. So there's a line that we draw from youth to, maybe even end of life. And it's really important that we stay connected, right? Because we'll all go through it if we're lucky enough.
Yes,
Well,
that's
if
true.
we're lucky enough, we'll all age. So we're going to have someone who's going to talk about transformational living at the conference. And I'm really excited about that this year, because it is going to make that connection.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you really seem to have a wealth of
So I believe,
information.
when we boost the confidence of these of the parents, the women, and the men as well. We're coming to you. We're going to be doing some programs for the men as well. So but when we do that, and a woman is confident enough to say, I'm good. I feel good about myself, and I know my life is worth it. Then their children feel it, and they can understand and pull their children. Sometimes you don't even have to say much. I have my mother with me in the studio today, and she's sitting out there. Everything that I do was not to make my mother embarrassed, not to make my dad embarrassed, and not to the 7 siblings that I have. I had to be a role model so that they could see what good is about. And just by doing that, by a parent feeling good about themselves, making the right choices, and knowing that they have within them whatever it takes to live their best life, that's the answer.
I understand that all too well, because my son that I had at 19 years old, we work together now. And we inspire one another, and we are really, our purpose is to really put out good work, but work that is meaningful to us, that mirrors our family values, our hopes and our dreams. So I'm really happy to be able to watch the accomplishments of my son, and also see that it mirrors me and the influences that I was able to bring into his life. Thank God, the good ones, because there are some areas that we struggled with. But he learned a lot, and I learned a lot. And I just want to just give a little prop to coaches, right? So I'm here with Dr. Stem. She is a motivational coach, primarily to youth and women. She is a TV host, and she is an author of 21 books, and I'm sure more to come. But about your coaching, through you and other women that I have met on this journey in preparing for the conference, I've met so many coaches. And I'd like to say that I have like 5 or 6 on speed dial, because when I call and I get the introductions, and I'm learning about what you do in order to book you for the conference, I'm getting a little dose of coaching, and I'm fortunate to have that. But I am beginning to, really feel the importance of coaching. Some people have therapists, we have, other professionals that we talk to in the area of our life. But when you really think about moving forward, or building some confidence, or just dealing with an area where you're stuck in your life, coaching is so instrumental. And it's a low cost primarily for what you get for the value of just kind of getting to things that maybe you even already know, or things that you possess inside. But can you tell me a little bit about your coaching work?
So the excitement that I have now is I have created programs that are starting in 2016 where women can sit in their home and we can talk on the phone, and I'll do telephonic coaching sessions with them. And they're only 8 weeks at a time, because a lot of them don't have time to drive because of the responsibilities that they have. But I can guarantee you that they will get business coaching, self-coaching, where they talk about themselves and the day-to-day stresses that they do. So it's really really a good way of connecting with other people, but mostly connecting with yourself through coaching.
Yeah, I think a good coach will help you to, like I said, find what you already know and bring that about. So we look forward to having, last year we had a coach or two at the conference, and we will do that again because it's really helpful for women who are looking for that extra confidence boost or that next step move in their lives. So,
and they can go to my website. I forgot to say that one. It's www.drstemspeaks.com. I'm sure they'll have it at the bottom, line. But they will have all the programs there, as well as the 20 books that I've written.
Yes.
They can get them there or on Amazon as well.
Right.
For the coaching. Yeah.
And like I said, I really enjoyed your books. This book, Beyond the Tears, really, really moved me. And we are fortunate to have your mother, who this book was dedicated to, right here in the studio. I feel a great honor for having that, for the things that she's endured, the things that your family has endured, but not only that, have overcome. Because what I see here today in your family is a lot of joy, a lot of positiveness, and the ability to take what you've learned and turn it into something, it's a gift, really, a gift to the world, to be able to share the things that you learn and to pass them on so that others can be healed and begin to move and to begin to inspire others in their work. So I appreciate your coming all the way down from Peabody, Mass. And I look forward to joining you in Salem on your show.
That'd be awesome.
And can you tell people where they can find your show, because I was fascinated with your show.
Oh, yes. You can go on YouTube and just type in the Dr. Stem Show or Dr. Stem Show, and you'll be able to see. That one is a motivational, inspirational, and empowerment show. And I try to talk mostly for women and youth there. So, everyone will be blessed,
And again, if anybody wants to know how to contact us with Cape Cod's Conference of Women, it's www.capecodsconferenceforwomen.com. And tickets are available for this year's conference, which will be Thursday, March 10th, 2016, at the beautiful Seacrest Beach Hotel in North Falmouth. And we look forward to seeing you all there. We're going to have some really dynamic speakers this year, a wonderful opening panel, and the theme this year is Women Who Make a Difference here in the lives of others. So we're again happy to have Dr. Stem, and I just hope that you continue to do your work and to inspire youth and women, and I can't wait to read some more of your books.
Thank you, and I'll see everybody at Driven. I'll be there.
You
can count on me. I'll be there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And thank you for your audio book that you gave me. I'm going to put that in the car and drive along and read it. So here's our cards for Driven, and you are a driven woman indeed, and I am honored to have met you up there in Randolph at that John Maxwell event. That was really a divine moment, like you said.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And
thank you.
Thank you to your mother for joining us as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when is your next book?